The Film, Unit 27, The Grammar of Reading, Writing, and Viewing Texts. What is a film? A film is a narrative constructed through dialogue and images. Films could be described as novels you watch on a screen, as long as you aren't writing an essay, in which case you would be marked down for saying such a thing. Parts of a film. Commercial mainstream films are generally organized into a three-act structure. The three acts are Act 1, the setup, Act 2, the development, and Act 3, resolution. Between these acts, turning points bridge the scenes and keep the pace of the film by presenting a choice for the protagonist or highlighting the dramatic question. Of course, there are occasional exceptions to this structure. The setup. There are many elements contained within the setup itself. They are exposition, backstory, and visual motifs. Exposition. During the exposition, which usually occurs in the first few scenes, the audience is shown the circumstance of the protagonist and/or the side characters. Consider the opening narration in most plays, for example, Romeo and Juliet. For example, in an action-adventure film, the exposition may show the protagonist living his life before his, her, or its call to action. The exposition is normally conducted through dialogue between characters, though it can be shown through text or narration. Backstory. Similar to the exposition, the backstory shows the events leading up to the circumstance of the protagonist. For example, the backstory in a murder mystery film may show the reason the protagonist decided to become a detective. This is also often conducted through dialogue between characters, or flashbacks in the protagonist's memory. Backstory is rarely given through text, as it is often an indication that the film director was unable or unwilling to create the scenes in question. Visual motifs. During the setup, the audience is usually introduced to a particular visual image or signature sound, which then becomes a recurring image or sound throughout the film. For example, a horror movie may show a haunted object which then becomes the focus of the protagonist's misfortune. Consider the Jaws theme. This is a motif which plays every time the antagonist appears in the film. The development. Once again, there are multiple elements in the development. They are the inciting incident and catalysts. The inciting incident. The inciting incident refers to the event which begins the main action of the story. For example, in an action thriller film, the inciting incident may be the antagonist threatening to murder the protagonist's family if he doesn't meet a ransom. In mainstream films, the inciting incident usually occurs around the 20-minute mark. Catalysts. A catalyst refers to any event within a film which further fuels the action or adds to the complication within the text. The inciting incident is usually the first catalyst, after which point there may be any number of catalysts until the resolution. An example of a catalyst, leading from our last example, is the protagonist walking into an ambush while going to save his family. While the ambush is not the main complication, it delays the protagonist and adds drama to the film. The resolution. Fairly self-explanatory, the resolution act provides an answer to the main problems faced by the protagonist throughout the film. It is very rare for a film to not include a resolution. However, films often have twist endings where the main problem is resolved, however it is shown that there is still a threat the protagonist must deal with.